Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're checking out 3 new knives. We'll start off with the Orion. This is the Orion CETUS or CETUS, and I actually really like the design of this knife. I have some negatives, but overall, I do like this thing quite a bit. 14C 28M blade steel, hollow ground, sheep's foot blade that angles downward. So this thing is going to be insanely good at utility cuts. The handle arcs down, so it fits like right in your palm. So you get a lot of power with this cut. If you wanted to cut straps, it's going to trap it. So it's basically going to trap anything you cut, which is going to excel in most EDC tasks. The handle is a stainless steel liner lock, and then this one has the wood overlays. You can get this one for about 75 bucks, but they have the G10 ones, I think, for 65. So there is different versions, different colors. The hollow grind is well done. I mean, it is nice and thin behind the edge. It's going to slice really good. Sharp into a plunge grind's nice. Access to the lock bar is really good. Very smooth on the drop. I love the reverse flick on this because you have the fuller that runs all the way down the blade and you have the hole, which both work really good. I like to use the fuller though. And the ergonomics are pretty good in the hand. I do feel the clip a little bit, but not a big deal at all. It does come with another clip. I'm not sure exactly why, but it does. And it is reversible, at least it seems. Yeah, it seems like it's reversible. The back spacer you can see, I'm not sure if that's aluminum or brass. It's probably aluminum, but I'm not positive. Anyways, my negatives really quick. One, I don't think this thing should have a flipper. The flipper tab is just entirely way too low relative to the center of the pivot, so it fails very easily. Yes, you can still fire it out, but you got to kind of give it some momentum. Not like you have to give it wrist flick, but you have to really break that detent. So it is kind of a slouchy flipper tab. I don't like it at all. So I would say just get rid of that flipper tab. You don't even need it because the reverse flick is so good. You know, the flipper tab kind of stops you from sliding up the blade, but you could just leave these little cuts there and take out the flipper tab or take them both out. Anyways, that's my biggest complaint. But I do have a couple other little nitpicks. Like one, the edge on this is not the best edge. It's actually pretty rough. It's going to be difficult for me to show you guys on camera exactly what I'm talking about. But, you know, as somebody who does sharpen a lot, you know, and I'm not saying that this is, you know, not a good edge for hand sharpening or anything like that. I'm saying from a factory edge point of view, it's just not that sharp. It could have been sharper, maybe deburred better because there still feels like there's burr on it. That's not that big of a deal to me. It's something I can easily fix. I do notice there's a little bit of a, not grind issue, but they missed the tip a little bit with the sharpening. I don't think they got it all the way to the apex. Like I said, not that big of a deal to me. I can easily fix something like that because I do sharpen, and anybody else who sharpens could easily do that too. So really those are my biggest complaints. The other things are just little nitpicks, like the clip is a little bit tight because there's not much room underneath there. I'm not sure if this one is a little bit taller. It kind of looks like it is, but I'm not positive. Maybe not. I don't know. But it works just fine. For most people, it'll be just fine. If you're using really thick jeans, that's where it might pose a small issue being a little bit tight, but for the most part it should be just fine in 98% of jeans. T6s, don't like T6s, rather see T8s, but all in all, as a tool, I like it. I like it a lot. I love the reverse flicking action, good access to the lock bar, the blade shape and ergonomics are going to, like I said, this thing will probably outperform a lot of knives in use. Next is the TRIVISA SGR05, and it has 10CR15 MOV steel. I actually like that steel. Love the blade shape. This is going to be a blade shape that's really good at EDC use. You know, it's very pokey, so utility cuts should be pretty good. The tip isn't up really high. It kind of spears out, so it's going to be very natural to use. The handle is carbon fiber over the top of steel liners. This is like some sort of shred carbon fiber, and it has flipping action. And then the hole deployment. The hole's a little bit tight in there, but obviously you can get it. You can see me getting it just fine. But, you know, it's a little bit tight, but it's fine. Then you have a decent flipping tab. flipper tab. Nice and comfortable, snaps out pretty good. The ergonomics are pretty comfortable in the hand. Deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws, not reversible. There's a little bit of weight relieving on the inside. It is very smooth on the drop. TRIVISA usually does a pretty good job with their action. Now, as far as any negatives go, the one thing I could say is that the access to the liner should be better. It's okay, it's not bad. So like if you have this knife, you're gonna know it's not bad, but it's, you know, it's just something that could have benefited a little bit more to knock this side of the liner back a little bit. And one other little negative is the sharpening tool and plunge grind. The plunge grind plunges all the way to the edge. So the plunge grind ends at the edge, which is not what you want. You want it to end way before the edge, so you have room to sharpen steel off before you hit the plunge grind. In this case, you're gonna hit it pretty quickly, so it will create a smile. Those of you that don't know what a smile is, it's when you're sharpening the edge, the steel has to be removed from here and it sharpens up into this. This is the plunge grind. It starts from here and and the thickness of the blade has to taper down to the edge, and this one tapers all the way to the edge. So when you sharpen it, right here is gonna have to get hit by your stone, and it will it'll make it look wonky right there, and it just doesn't look good. And then T6s, we already said I'm not a big fan of T6s, but all in all, I mean, it's a good looking knife. I'm not a huge fan of this type of carbon fiber, but that's just a preference thing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, you know, carbon fiber is amazing. You know, it's super duper strong. Like, I don't even think people realize how strong carbon fiber is. Look it up one day and you'll find out, and you'll be blown away how strong carbon fiber is. So, you know, it's got a nice strong handle material, and, you know, it's just, you know, it's a pretty simple knife, but I think that that's where a lot of people, or most people, sit in the, you know, in the EDC world, is with the most common blade shapes and handles, because they're going to be the most functional. And this one seems like it's going to be a good tool. Next. Oh, and by the way, there are other versions of this. They have wood-handled ones, Damascus versions, so there's a lot of different styles. Same thing with the other knife that we're pulling up, which is the TRIVISA Aries. I actually have a button lock version of this. This one is a liner lock version, and it's in Damascus. My button lock version, I forget what steel it's in. I think 14C28N. Anyways, so it's got a sheep's foot blade that rises upward. So this is going to be really good at utility cutting. And I do like how a lot of companies as of recently are understanding that that's a very important trait for EDC knives, is to be able to use that tip, because a lot of things are done with the tip of an EDC knife. So I like that. The action, really, really good. Or you know what, the handle materials, G10, but like I said, it comes in many different options. You can get this in wood and, like I said, a button lock version. Deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws, and it is reversible. The blade is a Damascus. I think it's a 9CR Damascus. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what I think it is. That's what most of the overseas Damascus is. Lately, I think they're all getting it from the same company, which, if it's the same that all the other companies are using, it's good stuff. It is really good stuff. I've tested it. The edge retention is good on it. It sharpens up really good. It's a 9CR 440 mix, which those two steels blend together very, very well. Anyways, to the action. The action's really good. Nice, comfortable flipper tab. You have good texturing on there. Nice amount of detent strength. Snaps out with decent authority. Then you have the hole deployment. The hole's a little bit small, but again, it works just fine. You can get it thumb or reverse flick, no problems with that. And the geometry of the blade, not the thinnest, but it'll cut just fine. The thing is it does sweep back a little bit, so when you're making slicing cuts, you could possibly slide out, but all you gotta do is just kink your wrist a little bit and you'll trap it just fine. So all in all, I like it. The only complaints I really have is T6s and then the sharpening tool and plunge grind. They could have moved this back a little bit. I think after sharpening it a couple times, it's gonna make a smile, or I know it will. So that'd probably be my biggest complaint with this one. Other than that, it's not really my style, I guess. You know, it looks okay. It looks pretty good. It's not a bad looking knife, but you know, and it might be just the blend of the Damascus with this G10. You know, I'm not a big fan of that, the color, and just like this, it just doesn't mix well to me. It looks cheap to me with this G10 and the Damascus, but that doesn't mean it is. I'm just saying, like, that's just the appearance to me when I look at it. All in all, 3 solid knives for you guys to check out. I do think, however, though, I do want to say this really quick. I think these guys are overpriced a little bit. Like this one right here, well, for the wood version, I see $80 for the Damascus and wood. I mean, it feels like a $30, $40 knife, you know? So to me, I don't see the value there. Especially with what's out here right now. We have so much out here. Same thing with this one, you know, this one, good solid knife. I don't want to take anything away from it. Like, and if you like the style, buy it, man. It's a good knife. There's nothing wrong with these knives. They're good knives. But I just can't help but think, like, there's so many amazing knives out there in this price range that these feel a little bit overpriced for what you're getting. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Anyways, there you guys go. Until next time, peace.